Tocca Ferro, Tocca Ferro, Tocca Ferro, Tocca Ferro, Tocca Ferro, Tocca Ferro.
Alrighty, good morning, afternoon, or evening, whatever time that you are joining me. Thank you for joining me on this fine day. Today is Friday, December 29th, 2017. Happy holidays. I hope you had a fantastic Christmas. I'm going to adjust this just a wee bit. I hope you had a fantastic Christmas if you're a celebrator of Christmas. If not, I hope you had a fantastic whatever it is that you do celebrate. Health and happiness to all. Okay, so content of this video is going to be the Stipula Tocca Ferro. Let me give you some information on it you may or may not already know. The Tocca Ferro is a decently priced pen. Once again, though, before I bought it, I looked for reviews on the internet and there weren't any. So I had to just take a plunge yet again. This time the plunge was only a short distance. It was only $180, but that's still enough to make me stop and wonder, is this a good buy? So again, I'm making this for you so that you can pull the trigger if you're ready to make that decision, or you can not if you were doubting. Let me start with Tocca Ferro is Italian. What it stands for, it's literally translated into touch iron. The idiomatic equivalent in English would be knock on wood. So there's the meaning behind it. It's made in Italy, and it is also distributed by the company Jaffa. They distribute Conklin, they distribute Monteverde, they distribute, gee, that's all I can think of at this point in time. Stipula, there you go, Stipula, they distribute Stipula as well. They have a good warranty. I do believe this warranty is lifetime. And, you know, overall, I gotta tell you, this pen is pretty awesome. It's a really cool pen. If I had to score it, I would say it's a 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10. That's a pretty high score. That's passing if you were trying to pass a test. Now I'm going to go over the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it has aspects of every single one of those elements. Not deal breakers though, but they are in existence, and I'll go over them. Before I do that, I just want to talk about this pen. This pen is made of iron, hence the name Tocca Ferro. Very cool. Right? The feel has a matte finish, and the iron is treated in such a way to prevent oxidation and rust. Because what happens to iron when it rusts, it disintegrates. You don't want that. So it has some kind of protection on it that makes it gray, and at the same time, because it's a matte finish, it's really kind of cool. It feels like basaltic lava. The same kind of, you know, the basaltic lava you have on your Visconti Homo sapien basaltic lava pens, not the special edition pens. They're really cool. This is really cool. This weighs more than a Visconti Homo sapien. This weighs more empty than a filled Visconti Homo sapien. Take it for what it's worth, but I'll tell you what though, it does not affect balance too much. Sure, it's heavy, but unposted, the weight is pretty much balanced by the front grip section. That's also metal. The back part is metal and iron, but it doesn't really affect you when you write unposted. Posted, yes, you can tell there's a back-weighted balance to it. Not the end of the world. Again, not a deal breaker. Doesn't bother me because I don't post my pens, but you may, so know that. Okay, let's get into the good. Like I said, solid and sturdy build quality, and has a large ink window. I like that. The ink window is orange. You can't tell right now because I have it filled with Noodler's Heart of Darkness Black. I like that ink. Right there. I think that is very cool. The ink capacity, I measured myself by drawing up ink and then spitting it back out into an ink vial that has the little dashes and lines on it that show the milliliters. This gets to about between 1 3/4, maybe more, to 2 milliliters of ink. That's a good amount of ink. That's going to last you quite some time. This pen is very classy and clean. The body of it, with the exception of the ink window and the nib, doesn't have any branding, doesn't complicate things. It's clean, it's simple, and it works. So let me start with the finial. The clean finial. The clean, solid finial, and it's got your leaf, relief style appointment there. It's really nice if you look at it. Now, look very closely. It's a nice leaf. Everything else is plain. Top of the finial, nada. Very simple. Clip. It's just a one-piece metal attached to the cap assembly. What I like about this cap is it is certainly not too, it's not at all too weak, and it's not too tight. It's just right. And I like the lip that they put on it. The shape goes into your pocket nice and easily and is tight enough to hug the pocket when you pull it out. Not an issue. Okay, next, the clip. I already went over that. End finial. Okay, the blind cap. This thing here is simplistic and easy. There's nothing there. It's just a blind cap. Not bad, right? Okay. You turn that thing, piston comes down, turn it back the other way, piston comes back up, draws in ink. Alrighty, center band. You might be like, wait, there was no center band. Yes, there is. Take a look very closely right there. You see that separation? It's a very apparent separation. Now, that right there is the same material. It's iron as the rest of the cap. It's part of the assembly, but the way it's assembled is this. Center band, top finial, clip, all connected together by an inner metal sleeve. I don't know what the metal sleeve is because I'm not gonna take it apart, but I'll try to show it to you, see if you can see it. Let me take my trusty Pelican 7600 and we're gonna shine it in and see if we can get enough light in there. Okay, see that inner sleeve right there? That inner sleeve is part of the assembly where the cap, finial, and the center band is. That's one unit. And then this sleeve here, the middle piece, is a separate unit. Okay? So there's more parts to this cap than just one piece of a cap. But it's also iron, same as the rest of the body. Now, the nib, I believe this nib to be a number 6 Bach nib. Okay? The reason I believe that is because when you write with it, the resistance, the feedback, the smoothness is similar to that of my Pineider 18 karat nib, the Legrand Bellezza I did a review on previously. Now, all signs point to this being a Bach by reason of Stipula makes these T-flex nibs, right? They're made of titanium. To my knowledge, the only nib maker that makes titanium nibs is going to be Bach. So it is safe to say that if Stipula has some kind of deal worked out with Bach for their titanium nibs, that they would also have some deal worked out for the rest of their nibs. So it's pretty simple to deduct that. So I'm pretty sure if I had to bet all my chips on one bet, I would say that this nib is a steel Bach nib. Alrighty, now the nib scroll work is cool. It has these angular spade type designs. It's kind of cool. If you can see, let me bring it a little closer. I don't know why the light isn't, there we go. See, it's these spades that go around the edges of the nib. They're straight angular spades, and then right across the middle, right underneath the breather hole, you got your branding that says Stipula. And then going down the center of it, you got Forenza. Now, out of the box, this wrote fantastically. I don't know if that's a correct adjective, but it was fantastic when I inked it up. I didn't clean it, I didn't flush it, none of that. I just wrote with it right away, and no problems. It was smooth, had some feedback, had some drag. Now, when I say drag, it's not a bad thing, right? It's a taste thing. You might like nibs that feel like you're taking a hot knife across butter and just, but some people like feedback. I personally like feedback, such as the feedback you would find in your Edison pens or in your Auroras. I like that. So this one is kind of a mix of both. It's very smooth, yet it has some drag. At the same time, though, there was very, very, very occasional hard starts. Okay, I used a loop. I took a look at this sucker, and perfectly aligned. no indication of baby's bottom. You don't have those two tines meeting with this slope in the middle, none of that. So it could just be maybe because I didn't clean it out, but it happens maybe 1 out of every 100 strokes. It's not enough to say, oh, this nib is a problem. Totally not a problem. And I'm very particular about every little detail. Here's a cool fact. If you wanted to, you could take like a grip, like a rubber grip, like the Goulet grip or something equivalent. You can pull the nib unit out because the feed is actually one of these plastic feeds that you see on all your Conklin. You see on pretty much a lot of pens nowadays. Jinhaos, all those cheap pens. So that's a pretty standard generic nib. You can pull out the nib and feed, and you can replace this nib with, if you wanted to, a titanium nib. Now, that would be cool because the finish would match that of the nib. I think that's a cool idea. I haven't given it a shot yet. I'm going to, but I'm pretty certain. But also, be advised that this nib unit screws in and out in the same way that your Aurora Optimas, Aurora 88s, and your Pelicans unscrew, making maintenance a hell of a lot cleaner. It is a significant pain in the butt to stick your pen in a cup of water, twist, 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 suck up water, twist, 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 spit it out, repeat process, change the cup of water, get a new one till it runs clean. That is a pain in the butt. I would much prefer to take an ink syringe filled with about 10 milliliters of water, spray it in, hose it down, get it out, shake it off, and then you're clean, you're good to go. Alrighty. Now, there's a lot of good things about this pen. It writes really well. The design, the feel, the sturdiness. There are some aspects about it that are bad. Okay. Now, this time, the bad is not the price. $180. You're getting yourself an iron pen. How many iron pens are out there? How many times have you bought an iron pen? How many times have you seen an iron pen for $180? 0 times. I don't think they've made pens out of iron. The last time I think they might have done it was when they made swords and shields, but you know, I think it didn't work out. Steel was, I think, a lot tougher, so they just switched over to that. But this is cool, okay? Although it is sturdy, it is lacking that, I guess, OCD precision level of craftsmanship. For example, let me talk about the cap. By the way, the cap screws on and off with 3/4 of a turn, not even a full turn. That could be good, that could be bad. It's up to you whether you like to twist a lot or just like to be able to take it off real quick. I like to have 1.5 to 2 full turns to cap and uncap. But here's what happens. Once there's no tightening. It just turns the 3/4 and then comes to a dead stop. And that kind of makes me feel like I didn't have that sensation of tightening it. So it just, once it comes to a dead stop, it's secure. My OCD brain is like, well, I don't know, I gotta check 800 times and then write 17 letters. So here's the problem with it. Once it is secure, I don't know if you can hear it. I'm gonna try to make you hear it. It jiggles a little bit. It kind of jiggles. Now, recall from earlier, I talked about the clip. The clip has an assembly where the finial, cap, and center band are connected, and this outer part here is just a sleeve. Well, guess what? Once it seals and the top of the grip section meets that inner cap and it's secured, it jiggles a little bit separate from this iron sleeve right here, okay? Ever so slightly. Is it a deal breaker? Absolutely not, but you should know that that's what's happening. And it could just be particular to my pen. I might just be drawing the short stick every time I get one of these. Every time I get one of these things. The cap interior. Okay, here's another one. Look at the finish of the cap. Right? Gray, well finished, matte, looks really cool. Look over here. Inside, I don't know if you can tell or not. Let me just, okay, I'm gonna shine my super cool flashlight into it. If you can look inside, you can't really get it, but if there you go. That finish, you can't really tell because the light is shining, but just know that it's a different color. It's a darker color on the inside. it doesn't look as finished as the outside. That makes me wonder, is the cap interior, the iron of the cap interior, is it finished in the same way that the outside of the pen is? If not, then is not the interior susceptible to rust, because iron plus moisture and oxygen causes the oxidation, which is rust in iron? So does that mean that the interior of my cap is going to rust and then disintegrate over time? I don't know. There is no way to confirm that the interior is treated the same way as the outside. And if I called whoever it is, Yafo or Stipula, tomorrow and asked them, are they finished inside and out? And they tell me yes, part of me still wouldn't believe them, because I like to trust yet verify. So the test of time is the only thing that's going to prove it to me, not what somebody says. That's just how I am. Maybe you believe them. That's cool. No judgment. The leaf on the finial. Now, I said before that that was a nice aspect. It was classy, simple. I like the design. I still do. But here's the thing. If you look very carefully, that leaf, that's a relief style design, ornament rather, that's a separate piece. So that means it's connected on the inside, and I think I did look into it and saw an area where it could be possibly connected. And that makes me wonder if over time, will that leaf loosen and need to be tightened somehow on the finial? And if that's so, how do I do that? And if I don't know how to do it, how much of a pain in the butt, or is it worth sending it over to Yafo or whoever it is to have it retightened? Anyway, it's just something that I don't want to have to worry about. Again, another thing that the test of time will be able to answer. Those are my notes right there. All right. Let me get on to the ugly. Okay. The reverse blind cap operation, that sucks. Let me explain to you what I mean. For most of our piston filler pens, such as the Aurora Optima, what we would do is we would take the pen and we would turn it clockwise, right, to pull the piston back and suck up ink, or we would turn it counterclockwise to push out the air or ink and empty it. This one is the exact opposite. So what you're going to do is you're going to turn it clockwise to push out the ink and air, and then counterclockwise to draw in the ink and suck in the ink. So that can be confusing if you're changing inks often or using different pens, okay? If I were doing that, I think I would develop dyslexia in like the next week and a half, because every time I would forget. And then also you got some people, I'm assuming, because if there's someone like me, I'm sure there's someone like me out. If there's someone like me, who is me, and I'm sure there's someone out there that is like me, every once in a while with my other piston fill pens, I like to just tighten it or unscrew it just a wee bit. I said wee bit. And then retighten it just to ensure that it's tightened. If you do that, just realize by tightening it, you're untightening it. You might go too far. And then end up squirting ink. It's a super tight piston mechanism. I don't know if this is because the one I got happens to be super tight. I don't think it is. Now, when I do untighten screw the blind cap to push out the ink, or, excuse me, to empty it, know that this blind cap, this piston mechanism knob, it doesn't come out or go in as you turn it, like an Aurora Optima does, or a Pelican, or a Mont Blanc 146. As you turn it, the end cap separates a little bit because the threads are pushing away the end cap. This one doesn't. It stays fixed where it is, and as a result, I believe they made it extra tight so that you don't accidentally turn it and expel ink when you're just transporting it or holding it, or or whatnot. That being said, because it is so tight to turn, if your hands are just a little bit slippery and your hands aren't made of rubber, you're going to slip. It's not easy. You're going to be all over the place, twisting it. You might even knock over the bottle of ink and get really frustrated and throw it. Thank God it's made of iron. So I found a fix to that, and it's pretty simple. You just throw on the cap and you post it, and then turn the cap. It grabs really well and turns it. Will it scratch the metal at the end blind cap? I don't know. I haven't done it enough times. I've only inked it up 1 or 2 times just to test it. but that's how I did it. Otherwise, it's just too difficult to do without it if your hands are slippery. Let's see. That's pretty much it. It's too stiff. It can be mitigated by using the cap. Now, also, that's right, another thing. If you look very closely at that blind cap, that piston knob, you won't be able to see it here, but trust me, it's there. You have to look very, very closely. But there are about 4 straight 1 millimeter long, approximately 1 millimeter long edges at the base of the blind cap that go up and down right from the base of where the iron ends to the start of the slippery, shiny end cap up. It's only 1 millimeter long, about, but there's 4 of them going around. The circumference of the blind cap, why is it there? I don't know. It's not to help for grip because they're so insignificant and they're so subtle, it doesn't help with anything. So I don't know why they're there. I don't know why they put them there, but they're there. It's not an attractive thing. You have to really look for it to find it. But once you know it's there and you know it's there, you're like, oh, not that big of a deal. Etching on the ink window. This one makes me laugh. I don't know why I find it so unattractive, but to me it is. It makes it look cheap. The Stipula branding across the ink window, I don't know why that just, it takes away from the clean, classy look of the pen because, like, it's hard to see because of the ink, but it just goes right across. It makes me think of, like, I don't know, McDonald's branding almost. But other than that, it says Stipula, and then it says Firenze, made in Italy, and then right next to the Stipula it says 101 of 351. That means I have the 101st pen out of 351 pens that they made, which is cool. I like the number. I don't know why, but maybe because it's mine, but I think maybe because 101 and 351 are both odd numbers. They're both prime numbers. Maybe that's why. I don't know. But I seem to like every serial number or limited edition number that I get my hands on. It appeals to me. I think it's funny. But why couldn't it be, I don't know, say at the end of the blind cap where those stupid etches are, those little lines? Cover those up with some information, or even on the back side. All right. It does look nice with nothing on it, but if there are these little etches there, you might as well just wrap it around there, make it look like scroll work, and then you look carefully and it's the information that you needed to cover up this nice large ink window with. I feel like ordering fries with this. Finally, oh, this one's a big one. You might not be able to see it on the video, but see that metal band at the end of the ink window there? If you look very closely, it is poorly finished. It's so poorly finished that I wonder what they used to polish it. Do you see that? It's almost like they just didn't really care about that little band there. But every band counts. I don't know if you can see that very clearly, but like I said, it's poorly finished. It has chafing going throughout the radius or circumference of it, and that's not too cool. It's not the most attractive thing. With how clean and precise everything else looks, that end band should be also, don't you think? Kind of makes it look nice. I don't know, but that's just my opinion. Who the hell am I? I talked about the balance and the grip. Here's another one. This one is not good, bad, or ugly. This is just whatever you make it out to be. The grip section is also metal. You got your threads here. You got your threads here. And those threads are similar to the ones on the Visconti Northern Lights Teal. It's not bad. You got your grip section, and it has a little bit of a curve on each side coming up to the tip. All right. Depending on how slippery and wet your hands get and how sweaty you get, could be an issue, could not be an issue. Maybe you like to hold it up higher where the threads are. Even if you are holding up higher on the threads, it just feels like a little bit extra grip. It's not really that big of a, it's not cutting into your fingers, okay? You're not developing calluses like a professional guitarist is because of this. It's smooth. Doesn't do anything but thread into the cap. I spoke about this before. 3/4 of a turn. 3/4 of a turn to cap and uncap. Watch, here we go. Ready? A quarter. another quarter, and it's already off. Okay, watch one more time. I'm pulling it to say, that's it, right there it comes off. So it's almost, just a little over half, almost 3/4 of a turn. That's a metric measurement I'm gonna use. I can't get more specific than that. But like I said, I like to use 1.5 to 2 turns to cap and uncap a pen. This one is just 3/4. And then when you do cap it, it doesn't give you that gradual tightening. It just 3/4 of a turn, dead stop, and it's secure. It makes me think, it's not really secure. I gotta keep checking it. But that's it. In conclusion, if you're doubting whether you should get this pen, despite all that negative stuff I was talking about, I say to you, and I maintain with the utmost confidence, pull the trigger on this one. 180 bucks, it is a fantastic pen. I love it. It's not bad. It's not a lot of money considering what you're getting. An iron pen that's super sturdy. Goulet Pen seems to have been the only retailer that sells it. And you're kind of out of luck as of today if you're trying to get it because they are all sold out. And if you Google Tocca Ferro, Stipula Tocca Ferro, the only thing that comes up is Goulet pens. I don't see anybody else selling them. On top of that, since there's only 351, they might still be making them or shipping them out, or maybe the rest of them are in Europe, and we're not getting any more. But if it does come back, at some point in time, jump on it, because they're not going to be around. They're going pretty quick. Mine came with a free bottle of ink. It comes with a free bottle of Monteverde with the Goulet Pens website. I think it's only until the end of the year. Double check. I don't remember. I do a lot of surfing and looking at pens during my free time. Not their fault. My bottle happened to leak. So I don't know what to do about that. I mean, what if I was ordering chloroform or something? I'm just kidding. They don't sell that anyway. But pull the trigger, get the pen. I hope this helped. This is the first review to my knowledge out there on this pen. Totally worth it. Get it. I love it. Good everyday pen. If you're at a job where, I don't know, all your stuff gets beaten up, or I get a new job. But it is a good, sturdy, everyday pen. Complements my Homo sapien. I think it's a good value for 180 bucks. I hope this helped, and be well. Take care. One final thing before I sign off about this pen. Just so you know, on the packaging, there's a little sticker up there. And what that sticker reads is a bunch of numbers and letters. Stipula Tocca Ferro, iron/orange, fine nib, FP. Okay? I can't get it to focus, but trust me, it's there. Now, that is the only indication from the outside of the box to the inside to the pen that you have a fine nib. If you have a medium, it'll say medium. The nib does not have the indication on it. Nowhere else, except for this sticker on this sleeve, is there an indication of what size nib you have. Now, I think that's a fantastic idea. The reason is because no one can accidentally take the sleeve off and switch it with another one, accidentally or otherwise, right? So you would just have to know what you bought and know what you have, because if something happens to the sleeve and you are only capable of determining your nib based on that sticker, you're out of luck. But like I said, otherwise, this is a fantastic pen. I love it. You should get one as soon as it's available, okay? Now, be well, take care. I hope this helps. This time for real.